multimedijalni web portal radio-bijelopolje.me.
Dear guest, this is the time which is predicted for our partners from Italy. You will now have chance to listen to FLORA, STALJANO, ĐINO, LUKRECI and Francesco Verso. They will explain what the Deepcon is. Deepcon is a partnership festival, and also they will tell us more about the bid for the Eurocon.
Hello everybody, and thank you so much for being here on such a hot day. Deep Space One is a cultural association promoting science fiction in Italy in all of its forms, which means from literature to science to comics and television, cyber series, all aspects of science fiction, and began its activities more than 20 years ago. Last March we were so fortunate to have two of the organizers of this convention to our convention, and it was the 20th edition of our convention. So it's quite established in Italy, and I think in Europe we're probably one of the more long-running conventions existing at the moment. We had always have various types of international guests, writers from Italy, of course, and from Europe, and from abroad too, from the United States, from New Zealand, from everywhere. Then we have actors, screenwriters. We are very interested in Italy in behind the scenes, so we had makeup artists, all the people that work in the behind the scenes in a production. We also organize many workshops, both in writings. Francesco also organized a workshop last 2 years ago in script writing too, with some script writers that came from the United States. And anyway, if any one of you is interested, you can go on our website, which is www.deepcon.it, and take a look at the Deepcon story. Deepcon takes place in Ambasciatori Place Hotel in FJUĐI. FJUĐI is a small spa town near Rome. It's around 45 minutes by car from Rome. It's a thermal city. The hotel is wonderful because it's a 4-star hotel. I mean, Dragic has been there with Anna, so they can confirm exactly. And of course, being Italian, you all know that we love food and wine, and so there is this aspect too. During these 20 years, attendees have come from all over the world. In 2009, we already organized a very successful Eurocon, where we had people coming also from New Zealand, and not only from Europe, let's say.
Maybe you should say something about Eurocon, because not everyone knows what it is. Eurocon is the European Convention of Science Fiction. Like there is a Worldcon, which is the World Convention of Science Fiction. This is a smaller one, European, and it's very interesting because it's a place where writers, readers, publishers from all European countries come, and it's probably one of the few places where you can see not science fiction which is not in the English language also. Whereas at the Worldcon everyone speaks English, so the biggest event is English language science fiction. Eurocon is much smaller, but it's more interesting because it shows the diversity of Europe. And it's changed place every year. So every 2 years before there's a bidding process, and everyone gives their best proposal. and this is what we are proposing to the other countries for 2021.
So this is part, you can see part of the Ambasciatori main hall, so it's very nice. Go on, please. And what is really important for us is that we are doing this bid in collaboration with some very important entities, let's call them like that, Italian entities. First of all, Francesco and Future Fiction. I will explain to you what he's doing now, because I think it's really important what he's doing to promote science fiction from, not only from English-speaking country, in Italy and abroad. And with the Italian Space Agency, we cooperate with the Italian Space Agency, which is in Europe the most important space agency, and with, of course, European Space Agency. But we have a very close cooperation with the Italian Space Agency. And by the way, in July, an Italian astronaut will go to the International Space Station, and for the first time an Italian will be captain of the International Space Station for 3 months. So we're very proud of that, and we really hope, in case we win the bid, to have him as one of our main guests in 2021. Then we also are making this bid in collaboration with the Italian National Institute of Physics, because we believe that this is very important to stress the importance of science too. And so we always have scientific panels at a very high level. And then we also have other collaborators, China, for example.
Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Francesco Verso, and I really have to thank Dragic for inviting us here, all delegations, small delegations of Italian friends coming to promote a kind of different approach to science fiction. As Flora said, since now maybe 6 or 7 years, I joined the forces of the Deep Space One Cultural Association, and with Flora we try to develop also the program. So part of this is due to the fact that the science fiction conventions sometimes have, a very entertaining side, but it's also important to have a very interesting panel programming. So I took the responsibility of inviting guests and some also friends that I've made over the years. These panels have to do with the current state of science fiction, with contemporary writing, and what is the state of the art at the moment in the not just let's say European but worldwide scale. That means trying to gather authors, editors, translators, illustrators from as many countries as possible, as many cultures as possible, to share the best practices, to share the best names, and try to create, a better promotion, a better position, a better understanding of what science fiction is at the moment. This starts from my cultural association that is called Future Fiction, where I try to scout the best authors from all the world in translation from 8 languages at the moment: Chinese, Russian, Spanish, French, German, Portuguese, Italian, English, and more languages will come. But with these 8 languages, I've covered a big part of the world, because many countries, let's say, the consequences of post-colonialism is that they speak still French in Africa, or English in Africa, or English in India, for example. So this has to say that we try to invite every year, and for the Eurocon, of course, it will be a much higher focus on this. We try to invite people from many countries, and over the last years we made workshop on science fiction, creative writing workshop, to let's say update the themes, update the arguments, because there's a lot going on at the moment, and we think that it's the right time to promote and spread these new ideas about science fiction that are really getting into our reality. So many people are still thinking that, you know, science fiction is some other place, some other time, but it's happening also now. For the Eurocon, we will have a lot of guests, and we will say some names afterwards. But I just wanted to say that it will be my personal responsibility to create a program that can map what is at the moment going on, try to invite as many people as possible from English and non-English countries, even though, of course, the problem in any international convention is the lingua franca, the language that we have to speak to understand each other. So it's important that we use English in a way. Still dream of the day when we will have many languages.
Yes, but already in 2009, when we organized Eurocon, one of the main guests was Sergei Lukyanenko, which maybe you know, which is a very famous Russian writer. So we tried even at the time to you know, to go against this predominance of the English language, because we believe that one of the main reasons that Eurocon exists is to give the possibility to European countries to know something about science fiction in other European countries, and to know something of the country that is hosting Eurocon. So in that case of Italian science fiction, we're doing a panel tomorrow here to give you a general idea of what is the state of Italian science fiction at the moment, and of the history, very brief, of course, but very briefly. But we think that Eurocon is the place where this has to be, if we want to go to compete, at least, or to try to compete with what we are receiving from United States, most of all, and Great Britain, because as Francesco says, it's impossible to know all the languages of the world, of course, but there is the possibility to know what is going on as in science fiction in other countries, and this is what especially Francesco is trying to do. This is just to give you a small idea of the area where we hold Deepcon and eventually Eurocon. FJUĐI, as I told you, is more or less 45 minutes by car from Rome, and the area is very similar to the place we are now. It's full of what is called borghi, which are, you know, little villages, very ancient, and it's full of ancient monasteries and of ancient cities. That part of Italy was part of the Vatican State. We've been conquered in Italy by anybody in the world, and for a long period of history, that part of the region, of Lazio region, was part of the Vatican State. So it's really interesting because we have, for example, the ancient pharmacy in the world, which was created by monks, and so this is just to give you an idea. Anagni has been the home of the Pope when they decided to leave Rome for security. Thank you. And so just to give you an idea, it's full of places, and of course if we win the bid, we will also be able to organize for you, for those who request it in advance, we will be able to organize tours of the most interesting places with guides, of course, professional guides in English, and plus the hotel has a very beautiful spa inside.
Yeah. Yes, this is something that attracted me some years ago, because first time I arrived and I saw people walking and they were just having a spa, and it was really cozy and really relaxing. So you can happen to see a lot of riders and a lot of guests of honor just walking there in the slippers and
it's bathrobe.
Yeah, bathrobe, yeah, of course. not the Swedish spa, okay, it's the Italian spa. But just to say, of course, that this is going to be Rome. So how do you get there? Yeah, you know, all the roads lead to Rome. So that's pretty simple. But in a way, we will have a transportation from the airport to FJUĐI, right? I mean, transportation from the airport to FJUĐI.
We will have some. You'll have
shuttle.
to book in advance, but we will definitely have shuttle like we had in 2009. So there will be the possibility to just get off the plane, either in Fiumicino or Ciampino Airport, and there will be a coach waiting for you. Usually it will be something like €5, €10, just to take you to FJUĐI, directly to the
Yes.
hotel.
Yes. And I think this is the best way, because the train is a bit uncomfortable. So some people did it, but you know, public transportation is not the best in Italy at the moment. So we strongly suggest to take the bus, the shuttle.
And it's cheaper, the shuttle.
It's also cheaper, of course. So in any way, is the best solution is that one. Yeah.
And it will bring you from the door of the airport to the door of the hotel. Not to the door of the spa, unfortunately, but to the door of the hotel we can manage.
And the area near FJUĐI is very important also for sky and space, because we were thinking of organizing also 2 trips that would be really interesting for those eventually attending Eurocon. First of all, there is an astronomical observatory in Campo Catino, which is very interesting because it's 1,500 meters high, so, and it's in the middle of the nature, so the view from there, it's really interesting, and we will organize a visit there. And then near FJUĐI there is Avio, and we can organize, which is a leading company in space propulsion. It's 30 kilometers from FJUĐI, and we already got in touch with them, and at the moment it is one of the top players in the segment of solid, liquid and cryogenic space propulsion, and is the prime contractor and system integrator of Vega, a light launcher of satellites. So this is really strange, but Italy is probably in Europe the most important country for space, let's say, space travel and space propulsion and everything. Is thank God, thank for us, is one of the fields where you know, the government tried to invest, and private companies decided to invest many years ago, and so the results now are seen. This is the reason why Italy has had so many astronauts compared to other European countries. And so we thought it could be interesting also to organize these two trips, as these 2 places are very near FJUĐI.
Also, Italy was one of the first countries which was able to launch a satellite with its own launcher, which is something almost no other countries could do, apart from the USA and the Soviet Union, of course.
And As for the panel, if we will win the bid against our Romanian friends, the program will be, as it has been in 2009, at least 90% in English, because we want to hear from other countries. So we will make a call for papers for anybody who wants to come and talk about the situation of science fictions in their European countries, which is really interesting. We already did it in 2009 with Ukraine, with France, and with other countries. And of course, we will also organize some panels to show the state of the Italian science fiction writers, especially. And Francesco is in charge with me, let's say, of the program.
Yeah. So what I've been publishing on Future Fiction will, of course, have a very nice consequence on this. It will have a big impact because most of the authors that I've published are my friends. So I can very simply call and say, come over. We're gonna have a very nice Eurocon, and you can join a very important conversation on the state of the art of European science fiction at the moment. So I thought about Ian MacDonald from Northern Ireland. I thought about Lavi Tidar from Israel. I thought of Rachel Cordasco. She's an important, very important blogger in the US. She is actually mapping everything that is being translated from any language to English in the genre, of course, of science fiction and fantasy. So if you happen to visit her blog, you can find a lot of resources, a lot of books, a lot of links, a lot of short stories, really an exceptional website to get to know what's going on in the world. And it's called, of course, Science Fiction in Translation, okay? And she will come to Italy for this. Ugo Bellagamba is also a very good French writer, and he's been the organizer of the Utopial in Nantes for many years. That is the biggest festival of science fiction in France. It's a huge thing. It's around 5,000 people over the course of 5 days. Then I plan to, of course, call somebody from China. I've been in touch with many Chinese science fiction writers. I invited Chinese science fiction writers to Italy, and I've been lucky enough to go to China 3 times in the last 2 years. And so this link, this relationship is very important, and of course somebody from China will come, probably even an organization. At the moment in China, science fiction is the most important genre, and the government and institutions, private funding, everybody is interested in what's going on in this kind of fiction literature. So let's say that a lot of program will be focused on many countries, from big ones like China, Russia, to smaller ones, and I consider Italy one of the very little tiny countries in the big world of science fiction. So it's a place where you can really discover something that you've never heard about.
And we will also have, of course, guests coming, which will not only writers. And here are the first. David Lloyd, some of you maybe know him, is a comic artist. He's, Alan Moore, he created V for Vendetta, just to give you an example. And Anne Payne is a girl that I met for the first time at WorkCon in Helsinki. And she studies, I don't know how many of you have seen The Expanse. The Expanse series is taken from books from Corey, and the novels have won the Hugo Award, and they took it. They created this a TV series, which is very well done, I think. And the showrunner is Naman Shankar, which worked for Star Trek for many years as a scriptwriter, and plus he's a he's a physicist too, so he knows what he's writing about. And Anne is a girl that I met for the first time at work in Helsinki, and she studies Lang Belter Creole, which is a language that was created especially for the show, for the TV, for the novels, and then was developed in the show. And she came to Deepcon last year, and she made a very successful panel in which she taught how to speak a little bit of Lang Belter, because as I told you, we are very interested in behind-the-scenes people. Lolita Faggio is a friend, and she worked for 13 years on Star Trek as script coordinator and post-production. And Eric Stilwell is a script writer, and he was also involved in producing the Dead Zone, which is another TV series which was very popular in Italy. We will definitely have an actor or an actress from one of the major sci-fi TV show. I can tell you that I'm hoping to have somebody from The Expanse. We'll see. And then, of course, as I told you before, we want to stress the importance of science, because science fiction, many scientists decided to become scientists because they were reading science fiction. Many Italian astronauts too did the same. So we always have panels, scientific panels that are really important for us. So we will have Gianpietro Casasanta and Mario Giorgioni. Those two, Gianpietro is physics, and Mario is an IT engineer, and they both spent a whole year in Antarctica, in Concordia, which is a base, a French-Italian base, where you live completely isolated for a whole winter, and of course many studies and researches and tests are doing there on ice, on this kind of stuff, and so it's really interesting to hear from their experience. Then we hope to have Luca Parmitano, which is the Italian astronaut that is going to be on the International Space Station this July. Of course, we're not sure 100% because he will be very busy, but there will be a big personality from the Italian Space Agency, that's for sure. Who knows, maybe Samantha Cristoforetti, we'll see. We always had many Italian astronauts at Deepcon. And then Marco Casolino, who is lead researcher of the National Institute for Nuclear Physics, and these are only the first guests that we thought of. Then there will be many more. I'm sure that Bruce Sterling, for example, will come back because he lives in Italy. So we intend to compose a Eurocon with many different guests from many different countries. And you wanna add something or no? Okay. Okay. And so the only thing I'd like to stress is the atmosphere of the convention, which is very informal, very friendly, and basically is let's say that is a place where friends, because we like to think of other people, of people coming from other countries as friends having a passion in common, share the possibility to talk about their love for science fiction and you know, Fantastico in general for 3 days. Be on a diet if you intend to come, because you will eat a lot, like here in Montenegro, and very good stuff. And the halls where the conventions panels will be held are inside the hotel, the main hotel, which is, as I told you, 4-star hotel, but we will offer accommodation that will go from the simple entrance fee to bed and breakfast to, you know, full board. So we will try to accommodate anyone and to offer a range of accommodation that goes from, let's say, you know, 20 euros, 30 euros to full board, which will be, of course, spa included. So it will be much more expensive. But the hotels will be all in 5 minutes walking distance from the main hotel. And what we really like to stress is that the atmosphere is very friendly and very relaxed. So as Francesco was saying, it is not unusual to see the guest of honor in bathrobe going to the spa. I mean, nobody bothers them in Italy. It's not like you know, convention in the United States where they cannot walk freely in the convention halls. It's not like that at all. I'm sure it would be like here. And then last thing, on Thursday night, there will be a gala dinner, of course, and blah 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 for those who want to attend. And on Thursday night we have Deepcon, which is a part of the convention after dinner, where people coming from all over Italy and from all over Europe, like it happened in 2009, will bring some delicacies to show, you know, the other people the best that their country can offer as for food and drink, let's say. So basically it will be a huge fiesta, let's say. And we really hope that even if it won't be Eurocon, some of you decide to come in the future, you're more than welcome to come. And we always love when people come from other countries.
I wanted to close now. Maybe it was this one. I wanted to say that it will be in March. It will be 14-18. It's 18 from 18 to 21 of March. This is also important because in Rome in the summer it's very hot. So it has two good reason. One is that of course we can have better prices because it's not, yes, it's low season in Rome, and the other is that it's not going to be so hot. So hopefully it's going to be nice weather. It's springtime, the beginning of spring, which in the center of Italy could be quite good. I think this we covered almost everything. I don't know if you have any questions, but feel free to ask. If you plan to visit Italy and to visit Rome, this would be also an interesting occasion because you can extend for a couple of days also your visit to Rome. And we can, yes, we can help you. Of course, we have accommodated many guests and many people in Rome as well, so we can also extend our visit altogether because there will be also many Italian fans. I think the numbers will be, if the last, what was the last time?
Well, Deepcon usually goes from, let's say, 100 to 130, 50 people, I would say. But in 2009, Eurocon was almost 400 people. So we are expecting into 2021, if we will win the bid. We also expect some Americans. So we're talking about 400 or 500 people. It is not a problem because we, as I told you, we already organized it in 2009, and FJUĐI has many hotels nearby. And the main hall of the Ambasciatori Place Hotel can hold 500 people. So, and we will have, of course, at least 3 halls having panels at the same time. So, I mean, the structure has already been tested for Eurocon and it worked perfectly. So we know that it works, and we hope to have you there, either for a Eurocon or for Deepcon. if you have any questions, or we're finished. You're forcing me.
It's okay. Twist my arm.
It's okay.
I will just, well, if you're patient to me, you win. But I'm not in a position for it, unfortunately.
I want to hear the bit of our friends from Romania, and of course we will share. As I said, we said this before. We just talked, and I said this is not one bit against the other. This is cooperation. What we really think and believe is that we need to bring together European countries. We need to share our relationship. We need to share our authors. We need to share our cultures. This is what, and science fiction can help. It might be strange, but in no other genre, I can tell you as a writer, in no other genre there is something like the tour of conventions in Europe or in the world. So being a science fiction writer, you can benefit from this. You can go from one place to the other. You can create your base of fandom, and the fans are what make the conventions really happy and cheerful. So this is really important. Whether we are in Amiens or in Barcelona, of course the structure, the possibility, the facilities, they can change, but the atmosphere and the what people share, and then you have friends and you visit people, and I go from many countries, and this is what really makes us feel better. It really creates a nice atmosphere, and it helps bring people together under the flag of science fiction, of course. But when you have something that unites you, it's so. I feel great. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Actually, I have two questions. Besides you and the Romanian guys, are there any other contestants?
The bids are just two. We will vote at the Eurocon in Belfast in August. The last weekend of August, no, the 18, I think, 20. In Belfast there will be a meeting where the representatives of the countries will gather and vote for the bid. We will have this presentation again. This is like a pre-presentation, informal, but there will be a formal presentation where then afterwards the people will vote and say, okay, let's go to Timișoara, or no, let's go to FJUDI. Okay, so it's just two countries.
It's two countries from what we know, I think, at the moment, because I remember that 1 year ago Denmark was supposed to bid, but then they decided probably not to bid, and it could be that there would be another country bidding. We don't know. I mean, we will know only when we will be there. And in any case, as Francesco was saying, the problem is not, Italy will win or Romania will win, because if any of us will lose, we'll probably organize Eurocon the next year or the following year. So the important thing is that Eurocon moves every year from country to country. This is really important. And in Amiens, in France, I spoke to the representative of Netherlands, and for the first time Netherlands too wants to bid in the near future. And so this is really important, because we never had a science fiction convention in Netherlands. So as Francesco was saying, Eurocon are very important conventions, because you can get in touch with other countries, and you can help you with your experience if you have already organized some conventions. Give them a little bit of advice maybe, and you can get in touch. And this is really This is really important. It's not that important where Eurocon is held that year. It's important that it's moving. That's my opinion, at least.
So each year just 2 contests? No.
2 countries, you mean?
Yeah.
For example, there are, in 2007, when we won the bid, we were against Sweden, but Amiens, it was only France proposing. It's not always an opposing bid. There can be only one country proposing to organize Eurocon.
It's not so simple because you need to have an organization that takes care of the logistics, take care of the program, take care of accommodation and stuff like that. Normally, a small Eurocon can have like 400. Yes, I was in Dortmund a couple of years ago. It was very small, and it was like 300. Not bigger than that. But Barcelona was huge. It was like 800 people, and it was a huge convention center in the center of the city. Very beautiful. And the Ian Watson that organized that, he died after that. He just was so much stress, so much taking care of everything. So it's not simple to always find every year 2 or 3 or more competing countries that say, okay, I want to do it in France or in Czech Republic or in Sweden. It's not so simple because it's not so. We're still backwards, really. When you think of the United States, they have so many conventions in every state. Every month, basically, you can go everywhere, from the ReaderCon in Boston to California, or now there's so many. Of course, the United States is a continent, and we would like to become, in a way, a science fiction continent ourselves. What I can tell you is that in China they're doing the same. They have, for example, also there a number of conventions from Shanghai to Chengdu, Shenzhen, Beijing, and Chongqing. A lot of course, we're talking about 20 million cities, 20 million inhabitants for each city. So they have problems. But in Europe, we're so backwards because the number of people involved in science fiction is not so many. So we have to involve new generation, we have to spread to other genres, spread to other media, trying to show, comics, video games, all these things related to science fiction. It's not simple.
And usually what happens at Eurocon is that you try not to clash, with other during bids. So usually you tell the others that you intend to bid in a few years. That's what we did in Spain. And we intended to bid for 2020, but then the Croatian delegate said, look, in 2020, Rijeka will be the European capital of culture. So we said, okay, then you will have the funds probably, so we will move to another year. So usually there is a lot of cooperation, and if it's not possible, because then maybe 2 countries that same year, like in this case, have possibilities, then there is a bid. But do not think that it's I don't want you to win or things like that. If it's not, it will be the following years. But usually we sit at the table, the delegates sit at the table and try to reach an agreement to do the best thing that is possible. Of course we did not bid it for 2020 because Rijeka was going to be European capital of culture, so it would have been stupid to compete, but to compete because it's their chance. So this is what we're trying to do in Europe. Yes, I think that it's the best way to go. You should think about the Eurocon here too. You would just need a big hall when there is the but the rest is perfect because you know, places like this with 50 people that can accommodate 50 or 60 people are perfect. Oh, and plus, of course, it is not only Eurocon, but usually the country that hosts Eurocon also has the national convention. So in this case, we will have in 2021 Deepcon, which is our convention of our association. It will be the 22nd year. I cannot believe that. I'm old. And ITALCon, which is the national convention, and Eurocon. So that's it. And if you have other questions, we'll be around here until Sunday. So thank you very much.